Conservative new media viewers, J-Lin fans around the world, Charlotte Hornets fans around the world. What's up? It's me, PFE, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert, and we're here on October 27th, 2015. It is the opening day of the NBA season, 2015-2016 regular season, and it is one day before the Charlotte Hornets begin their regular season. And I wanted to make a quick update video here to talk about the depth chart, or what looks like is going to be the depth chart heading into the first game against the Miami Heat in Miami, Florida. Of course, we'll be covering that game. I can't wait for the season to kick off. So let's discuss that right now. And this is based upon information from the media guide for the game from the Charlotte Hornets, based on information from the Charlotte Observer, Rick Bono reporting in there. It also should be mentioned that Jeremy Lamb and Troy Daniels have been ruled as doubtful for the game. Jeremy Lamb is still dealing with that ankle injury that he got a couple games ago in the preseason. And I believe Troy Daniels is dealing with hamstring tightness. So those two doesn't sound like they're going to be available for tomorrow's game. Still, I'll keep them in the spots that they seem to be heading into the regular season depth chart. So here we are right now. Let's talk about this. Of course, right now we're reading downward here. So Unit 1, read down. Unit 2, read down. Unit 3, read down. And of course, I mentioned that this is the approximate depth chart because I don't know exactly what it is, and Steve Clifford hasn't come out and said specifically what it is. This doesn't mean that these are who these players are going to be playing with on the court. If you have a first unit, it's often the case that one or two players will end up in the first unit playing with a number of the players from the second unit. Steve Clifford has mentioned that he would like to have a 9-man rotation, which means that somebody in the first two units here, if this is what they're actually going to be, would not be playing much. So this is more of where it seems like each individual fits in this kind of roster depth chart based upon who's going to apparently start tomorrow and who's been playing with whom in the preseason. So let's talk about it right now. Number 1 unit, point guard Kemba Walker. No surprise, everybody understood Kemba was going to start, and he is going to start. Shooting guard Nick Batum. It does appear as though Cliff is going to keep Nick Batum in the starting shooting guard role, even despite the loss of Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. So there were experiments during the preseason of Nick playing at small forward, which is the position that he played for most of, if not all of his career in Portland up to this point. However, it does appear as though Steve Clifford is going to keep Nick in the shooting guard role that I think he wanted to have him play from the beginning. P.J. Hairston, starting small forward. This was a surprise. Nobody really expected that this was going to happen. I know I didn't expect it. Why is P.J. going to start at small forward? 2 reasons why. 1, Steve Clifford likes size. P.J. Hairston's big. He's about 6'5", 6'6". He's a large-bodied guy. I think he's got pretty good arm reach. And that's 1. Number 2, P.J. understands the Charlotte defensive scheme. He's been there for a year. He knows what Coach Clifford expects and wants on defense. And I think those are the 2 reasons why P.J. Hairston's getting the start here. He's bigger, he's longer, and he knows what to do on defense in terms of what Steve Clifford wants done. Number 4, power forward Marvin Williams. This hasn't officially been declared yet. Even just a few hours ago, as I make this video, it was said that Clifford was still deciding between Williams or Zeller. But looking at the media guide, they have indicated that Marvin Williams is going to be the starter. Of course, that could change, but I would imagine that Steve Clifford is going to start Marvin Williams because he's been targeting that the entire preseason. Cody Zeller's had a great preseason, and he has shown that he can shoot from three-point range. So it has made things, I'm sure, more difficult for Steve Clifford to kind of just push Zeller out of the picture for the first team. I think that's ultimately what's going to happen. I also think that Cody Zeller works well with Jeremy Lin. And so I think that will be a factor as well in terms of why Zeller will end up with the second unit rather than the first unit. Finally, Al Jefferson starting center. No question that was going to be the way it was going since the beginning of training camp. Unit 2, Brian Roberts, point guard. Is this set in stone? Absolutely not. Could Jeremy Lin be the point guard and Brian Roberts shift to the third team? Yes, it's possible. Brian Roberts played great in the preseason, and he played well in the point guard role. Now, a lot of people will say that he was actually playing more of the shooting guard, and Jeremy Lin was playing the point guard, and there's truth to that. Roberts shot the ball a lot. However, in terms of size, Brian Roberts is smaller than Jeremy Lin. And in this offense, it doesn't really matter who plays shooting guard and point guard. They're both going to handle the ball, and they're both going to get opportunities to make plays. So I'm just putting Brian Roberts in that spot because I know if I was a coach, I would put Brian Roberts in the second unit because he's earned it with the way that he's played in the preseason. I think he can help out a lot by being able to make plays with that second unit better than anybody else can for now anyways. Jeremy Lin starting shooting guard with the second unit. Again, he could be the point guard. There was a chance that Jeremy was going to be able to start as the shooting guard. I'm not concerned about this. I'm not upset. I know a number of Jeremy Lin fans aren't happy with this. And again, in terms of performance, was Jeremy Lin one of the 5 best Hornets in training camp? Yes, he was. So he, quote unquote, deserves to start. But it's not that simple. First, again, I think, Jeremy Lin is not as tall. It doesn't have the arm reach that P.J. Hairston does or Nick Batum does. Steve Clifford is more of a defensive-minded coach. He likes bigger players. He likes defense, and he knows P.J. Hairston because he's coached him for a year. So I think those are different factors involved here. Also, the team needs to have balance. You need somebody to run the second unit, and that person is Jeremy Lin, more so than Brian Roberts. Not that Brian Roberts can't do it, but Jeremy's really the dynamo. He's the spark plug. He's the electric player that can make things happen. I know all the arguments. I know what Jeremy Lintel has said and others have said. I completely respect those opinions 100%. I'm not saying what I want to have happen here. I'm just saying what is happening, and I understand it. I get it. And I would imagine that this second unit is going to be able to do a lot of damage against other second units in the league. Not everybody, but most of them. Moving on, Jeremy Lamb, who I said obviously will probably, he's not going to play tomorrow, so somebody else is going to have to fill his role then. But Jeremy Lamb he's the guy they want to use in this spot. He's a shooter. They're happy with him. They want to put him in, and that's probably where he's going to fit in this roster, in this depth chart. Power forward for the second unit, Cody Zeller. Again, he has good chemistry with Jeremy Lin already. Steve Clifford has noted that. I do think that's a factor in why he will come off the bench rather than start with Marvin Williams starting. Also, Marvin Williams is a better three-point shooter than Cody Zeller is, at least right now. And that's part of the reason why Marvin Williams is going to start. Spencer Hawes, second unit center. Spencer Hawes being able to shoot the ball will definitely help Jeremy Lin with spacing, which means there's going to be more room for Jeremy Lin to drive to the basket, and that's going to help him. Unit number 3, Aaron Harrison, the rookie. Harrison had a nice preseason. He had a nice summer league. Harrison can make plays in the pick and roll. So maybe he's the man that fills in for Jeremy Lamb tomorrow. And that actually could be pretty interesting because then you'd have 3 players that are capable of making plays in that second unit. That would be pretty interesting to see. Troy Daniels, the shooting guard, again, he's doubtful for tomorrow. Small forward, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, I have him in the brackets there because he's injured. Hopefully Michael's going to be able to come back later in the season. Down the stretch, we will see. Power forward, Tyler Hansbrough. Center, Frank Kaminsky. Now, a lot of people wonder, why isn't Frank higher up? Why isn't he quicker in? Well, Frank is still learning the game. He needs to get stronger. Frank will probably get plenty of opportunities. So this isn't set in stone that Tyler Hansbrough and Frank Kaminsky aren't going to get any playing time. They will get some playing time, I'm sure, kind of interchanging with Zeller and Hawes. But I think that Zeller and Hawes will be the primary second unit power forward and center, with Kaminsky and Hansbrough mixed in somewhat. And then as the year goes along and Frank gets more acclimated to the NBA, then I think you will start seeing Frank Kaminsky more and more. He is an excellent player, and I think he's going to be an excellent player going forward. So that is it. We talked about depth chart early in the preseason, had a sketch of it, but now we have a much clearer picture going into tomorrow and the game against the Miami Heat. I haven't looked at the odds makers lines. I'm sure Miami will be favored. I've heard different people say, oh, Charlotte's going to win 35 games. Charlotte's not going to make the playoffs, so forth. I feel good about Charlotte. They still have to lock in some things. It certainly hurts that they lost Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, but as we've talked about, they had a strong preseason. Their depth is excellent. Their shooting is excellent. The team chemistry is very good. I think this team can surprise some people, and I can't wait until it kicks off tomorrow against the Miami Heat. That is it for now. Thumbs up, thumbs down, your comments below. Thanks a lot for watching Conservative Media. We strive to be the #1 Jeremy Lin YouTube fan channel. Look, as I just said on Twitter not too long ago, I'm very much hoping to check out Chicago versus Cleveland tonight. In fact, I might even make a video about it if I've got time. It's the NBA season. It's like Christmas Day for those of us that are NBA junkies like myself, and this is it. We're finally here after the long summer. And after all the preseason and everything, we finally have real, meaningful basketball tonight, and I can't wait. We encourage you to come and join the Conservative Media Facebook group. We also encourage you to come and follow us on Twitter. We love talking basketball there. Information for both of those things will be found in the video description below the video player. Just click the See More thing. So again, I am PFE Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. Thanks a lot for watching us once again. Looking forward to tomorrow's game between the Charlotte Hornets and the Miami Heat, and looking forward to the basketball season starting in just a few hours from now.